Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of F1 2020 Driver Career Mode with Red Bull. Today we're doing episode number 34 for the Dutch Grand Prix of Season 3, round number 2. Yes, first of all, if you are new to the channel, then please do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 videos. We're currently on 235 subscribers. I'm aiming for 250s by the end of the year, so we're not that far away. So yes, if you can do, hit the subscribe button underneath the video. It massively helps me out in sustaining the channel in the future. But before today's video, obviously the video title, you're going to have to wait till the end to see what happens with that. But we were looking a bit at the engine. I have done a Twitter poll which doesn't expire until Saturday. It's got one vote. Currently we're moving to Renault on that vote. If you don't have Twitter, then that's fine. Just leave a comment on the video telling me which team that you want me to go to. The choices are Ferrari, Renault, and I put Haas in there as well, just because, I mean, why not? But yeah, especially the fact by the time we probably get round to episode 9, it will be for the first race, the performance patch will have come in, so that's just something to bear in mind when you guys vote for it. So yes, because of course we're departing, and although there are rumours circulating around the paddock, nothing from Red Bull yet, we just purchased some durability upgrades and that's it. I mean, that would do. I mean, Red Bull we're so far behind. We literally pretty much ignored durability for the entirety of Season 2. But we've still got another 112 days of this contract as well. Market value at 7.3 billion. I thought it's supposed to be more than that. I know Albon's at level 15, but even though his acclaim is more than mine, even though we've beat him so far in the 2 seasons we've had, I really don't get that. Yes, I know there's problems with qualifying, but the fact the way we made forwards in certain races should have mean that we gain a bigger amount of team acclaim. But I'll touch on this in Friday's episode because that's in the 2021 game ideas. It just so happens to be that. Well, car seems to be. We pretty much maxed out on they are maxed out on the facilities. We're gonna make a few R&D upgrades. Hopefully means we don't have to take any engine penalties. We're a little bit way behind at Alfa Romeo, so a couple of our durability upgrades won't hurt compared to the likes of Renault, and especially the fact it's not really affecting performance either. But yes, we have a season rate, of course, because it's a while between March and, well, there's a 2 weeks off, which I don't know. I mean, is it worth having these extra season breaks in the calendar? I'm not entirely sure. There's how the driver standings ran up briefly. Alex Albon is top of the leaderboard, as you expect, because we've only had one round from the previous little episode. But the weekly resources are coming in. We're going to purchase another durability upgrade as that one comes in, and that's really going to end the focus. I think we went for turbo durability, which isn't really the biggest thing in the world because the turbo is pretty much the least one that we have to worry about. But and also looking at that weather forecast, there bit of rain at the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see there. But obviously they've sort of the window for the R&D performance chart has sort of been narrowed, of course, because everybody's sort of upgraded now. Obviously expecting a regulation change at the end of the season. Renault are doing a madness now. They've closed half the gap from themselves to Ferrari, who've also brought in a minor upgrade. McLaren are there as well now. Let's hope they can get more of a steadier season, because at some point they were, at points in the last season, they were the slowest team, and well, the third slowest team, or even the second slowest team at one point, I think they were. and really only managed to score consistent points and be a nuisance in the top 10 in the final finale in Brazil last year. So AlphaTauri as well, we'll see what they can do. Obviously they've got one of the best engines on the grid, along with Renault and Mercedes. Ferrari's engine has actually gone down. I did have a look at that, but they make it up in other departments. As we move into my least favourite part of the weekend now, qualifying. I mean, on this game it's just painful that you can't run the same AI difficulty in qualifying without having qualifying outside the top 10 from qualifying to the race. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Sebastian Vettel puts in a 1 minute 8.2. We're improving on this lap, but I don't know if it was my setup or something, but the car just didn't feel like it wanted to. It didn't feel right. Again, I thought the setup from last season, we were on it last season. Here we had that, and I only thought that because this track, I thought it was the track and not our setup. And last season, why we couldn't overtake Ricciardo really. We're 2.5 tenths up coming out the final corner. Can we make this up to 3 tenths? That would be nice. We've dropped to 14th place. Ocon as well, not having a very good race. Time of it, almost 3 tenths, but it's only 13th in the grid, and that, once again outside the top 10. Albon is third, but it's the 2 Ferraris who are first and second. Bottas as well, retired in Australia. This could be Bottas. Well, we could, if I was at Bottas. We also had George Russell had a collision with us. We were doing our normal stuff, basically toddling on. This is on board with Russell. Business as usual with one of these. Basically, I've got no fuel, and he just slams into the back of us and loses a bit of his front wing.
Obviously, I expected a better session, but these things happen from time to time. Try to make up for it in the race.
Welcome along then to the North Sea coast and Zandvoort, 25 miles away from Amsterdam, and the host for today's Dutch Grand Prix. It's a race the great Jim Clark won on 4 occasions, leading for an astonishing total of 370 laps. Zandvoort circuit, 14 corners, 10 to the right and 4 to the left, with plenty of steep camber and elevation changes to keep our drivers on their toes throughout a 2.6 mile lap. Joining us today to oversee all the thrills and spills, it's Anthony Davidson. And great to see you. How are you feeling about the race today, and how are the circuit conditions from what you've seen?
Well, it's looking a bit cold out there, if I'm honest. These tyres have quite a narrow operating window in terms of the temperatures they need to extract the best grip. So with a cold track surface, it's going to be harder to keep those temperatures up, which will lead to lower grip and maybe more mistakes.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Albon, Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo and Magnussen, Norris, Gasly, Bottas and Carlos Sainz, Stroll and a Red Bull, Esteban Ocon and Perez, Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Nicholas Latifi and Nick de Vries. Verstappen and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Yeah, I don't get why I keep saying that. I mean, even when we were deep inside the top 10, where was it? USA last year, he was still saying that. We're going for the alternative strategy. Obviously, the softs, I don't know about the tyre wear on that, how that's going to work. But we have got rain coming, so hopefully it comes a little bit earlier than that BBC weather forecast. There's 5 lights out, and away we go for the Dutch Grand Prix. And it's although we initially bogged down, it's actually an okay start. We're going to try and get the racing point, almost having to take avoiding action going into turn 1 as we go past Sainz and Bottas. Can we get now? Norris and Gasly are going a little bit slow into this banking section, which of course is apparently a little bit steeper than in real life, but couldn't get Gasly and Norris. Got a little bit on the curbing there, and we now have to defend from that. Bottas there going into this middle sector, but Bottas is lost out there, and there's actually Sainz who's now behind us in the McLaren. McLarens are going well, as although Sainz now is falling under pressure from the Finn, who's going to try and get past him. He's not had a great start to the season. Bottas retired in Australia after leading the race, but he does eventually get past Sainz, who made an earlier pit stop than everybody else, interestingly. Bottas is going to continue on his soft tyres. Again, this is only a 25% race, as the team come out for our one and only pit stop. 2.6 second stop. There's a nice gap there, thank you very much. We're going to move into it. Soft tyres go on, so hopefully the lap times will be able to pick up. We'll see if we can catch Norris and Gasly. That's going to be the target really, but we've got Nicholas Latifi, who for the second season in a row has come out ahead of us when we made our pit stop. So obviously we're going to get past him, and we're going to try and get past him earlier than we did last year, because last year we made that fantastic overtake on the outside the banking. Although both cars have improved since then, and we're just going to dive it down the inside, hop over the curb and move into 40th. No point staying behind Latifi, no contact, no damage there. Fuel is a bit of an issue. I didn't really foresee that in today's race. Maybe the upgrades that have been put on the car have sort of been not very fuel efficient. As we go purple in the last sector, Bottas is coming out the pits now actually. Can we get ahead of him? Yes we can, just about, and he can't make the overcut. I'm sure Bottas will not be happy with that. She's looking down our inside, and nothing to be done. This is lap 16. We were catching Gasly a little bit at some point, but the pace just went off as the tyres just died. The rain hasn't come, which is unfortunate. Obviously everybody's Verstappen and De Vries, who are outside the top 10 as usual, as there's a yellow flag up ahead. It may be, is that Albon out of the race? He was leading as well. He was going for maximum points yet again. He's going slowly into turn 1. Yes it is. Albon's, despite the fact we made a couple of durability upgrades, Albon's engine has given up, and it's only the second race of the season. Typical Honda reliability there. So we jump to the last lap of the Grand Prix. Bottas is all over us. Our tyres are very dead, and Bottas has made contact and lost part of his front wing when we jumped the curb. And that sort of finished off the race really. 8th place. It would have been 9th place. Disappointing how we couldn't catch up to Bottas, and with that ending pretty much sums up the Grand Prix here. Honestly didn't know if it was our setup or not, but there we go. Daniel Ricciardo there getting driver of the day. He finished 2nd place, so Renault going well for one side of the garage. Ricciardo showing the pace, Ocon not. I'm hoping that if you guys do choose to go for Renault, then I'm hoping that we get Ricciardo as our teammate and not Ocon, because if it's Ocon, it'll just be a walk in the park. Pace wasn't that bad actually on the softs. I just think that maybe the mediums and softs really didn't work. I don't think. I'm not entirely sure if it was just the setup and the balance of the car which really hasn't worked out for us. But yes, for Albon, is he having visions of last year? Obviously we were quite a bit away of Albon, who was dominating this race, but he is 94 rated now. And Kevin Magnussen, of all people, now leads the Drivers' World Championship. I don't think he's ever led a Drivers' World Championship in either real life or in any game that I've ever played. So this is definitely a turn out of the books. We'll see if he can keep that there. He might get promoted to our Red Bull seat. And of course, we're still holding on to. We've lost to P9, but obviously we'll hope to bounce back. The next race is in Spain, which isn't a favourite of mine, I've got to admit, but I'm hoping that the setup there. I have done a little bit of work with the setup since we had that terrible race in Britain in my team. So there is work. We dropped to P3 in the constructors. Ferrari now leading it. So hoping for improvement
Amazing
there.
performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that.
No, I'm not happy
Who would
with
you
that.
see as your biggest rival?
We're not going to comment on a rival until we've moved to Renault and seen what the
Did you struggle
performance
to
is
get through
like.
all that traffic today?
Or move team rather. And the other two,
Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash?
traffic is not relevant, and that one's not relevant because the AI crashed and we didn't.
Thank you for your time.
And thanks for wasting mine with those ridiculous questions as usual. But yes, coming back to the factory, the HQ at Milton Keynes, there was an email. Hello Peter, as you may be aware, we've been looking into negotiating a new long-term contract with you, playing the role of second driver to Alex instead of the equal driver status you currently have. As you can gather, this is broken down, and therefore we will not be renewing your contract, and we will part ways after the Austrian Grand Prix round 8, which is the earliest release in your exit clause. Because you will not be involved in the team in the future, we will therefore lock you out of the R&D screen and no longer be able to spend R&D points. All the best in the future. Regards, Christian Horner. Which means that pretty much the Twitter poll, option 1 is no longer an option. So it is pretty much Ferrari, Renault or Haas are the 3 options now. Again, comment below if you haven't got Twitter. Which one you want me to see him in. Yes, and there's proof there that we have been locked out of the R&D. All we got is this black screen with the words locked out, basically. Although we may be able to steal somebody else's login and have a little snoopy poo at at what R&D parts they have decided to upgrade. Obviously we don't have a say in which parts they will be upgrading. If any parts they decide to upgrade, obviously they might want to wait until they get their new driver in and just decide which parts they want to upgrade depending on what their other driver does. Depending on who they get in, whether they get a second driver into Albon, which they wanted for us, which we told them no, because we want to be, although at equal driver status, considering the fact we beat him in 2 seasons so far, is what is literally taking the biscuit. And the fact they wanted to go to second driver, although he could have been way out in front of the drivers' championship, is still not where the contract we wanted. But yes, if you have enjoyed this video, then leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see more episodes of the F1 2020 driver career mode. There might possibly be 2 episodes next week in Spain and probably Monaco as well. But until the next video, take care. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your day, and goodbye.